The city of New York is no stranger to grand spectacles, accustomed as it is to the glittering processions of the world's most powerful, famous, and influential figures walking its historic pavement. Yet, during this particularly stifling summer weekend, as a relentless heat wave settled over the towering skyscrapers of Manhattan, an entirely different kind of energy began to pulse through the crowded streets. It was an atmosphere thick with anticipation, an unspoken understanding among the throngs of paparazzi, dedicated fans, and casual onlookers that something monumental was transpiring just beyond the veil of ordinary perception. For days, the media capital of the world had been transformed into a complex chessboard of high-stakes evasion, where every tinted window, every sudden movement of a luxury vehicle, and every whispered rumor among hotel staff was analyzed with microscopic precision. The global spotlight had converged on a narrative so compelling that it seemed to eclipse the standard rhythm of the metropolis, drawing everyone into a grand game of cat and mouse that defied the conventional boundaries of modern celebrity culture. It was within this environment of absolute secrecy and heightened tension that the first tantalizing clues began to emerge, suggesting that a masterfully coordinated plan was being executed right in front of an unsuspecting public. Leaving the world to wonder what immense secret was being guarded with such fierce determination, behind the grand facade of Manhattan's prestigious Ritz-Carlton Hotel, the traditional elegance of the establishment was temporarily replaced by a palpable sense of operational urgency that felt more akin to a diplomatic summit than a typical gathering of high society. While the front entrance saw the usual comings and goings of affluent travelers and tightly scheduled shuttles, it was the secluded service entrance that became the focal point of an extraordinary sequence of events that caught the attention of sharp-eyed observers. In the deep shadows of the loading docks, away from the blinding flashes of the main press lines, a heavily tinted luxury SUV stood idling, its engine a low hum against the concrete walls. Witnesses captured exclusive glimpses of an unidentifiable figure emerging from the service doors, a man whose immense physical stature and sudden, decisive movements instantly drew comparisons to one of the most celebrated and dominant athletes in modern American sports. Operating with the precision of a seasoned professional executing a high-stakes trick play on the football field, this mysterious individual avoided the waiting crowds entirely. Slipping into the back seat of the vehicle where he was shielded from the outside world, before the heavy door clicked shut, a fleeting moment was captured, a single swig from a hip flask, a solitary gesture of release in the midst of an ironclad lockdown before the SUV accelerated into the dense New York traffic, closely trailing a larger convoy that reportedly carried close relatives of the nation's most talked-about couple. The hotel staff, usually flawless in their customer service and absolute discretion, could only offer nervous laughter when questioned by reporters, neither confirming nor denying the identity of the high-profile passenger. Yet their weary expressions betrayed the immense pressure of managing an event governed by an absolute, unyielding hand. This singular shadowy exit was merely the tip of a massive iceberg that had been forming for months. A testament to the lengths to which two of the planet's most recognizable icons would go to reclaim their privacy in an age of total digital surveillance. The narrative surrounding this weekend had evolved far beyond a mere social gathering. It had become a massive cultural phenomenon that captivated the consciousness of millions across the nation and around the globe. For months, the public had watched, deeply fascinated by the unfolding trajectory of a romance that brought together the worlds of elite professional sports and global stadium pop music, creating a synergy that the media simply could not resist. Yet, as the crucial dates drew closer, the open book of their highly publicized lives was suddenly slammed shut, replaced by an intricate web of security measures that resembled a sensitive government operation more than a traditional celebration of romance. The sheer scale of the logistical effort required to keep the world's press at bay was unprecedented, sparking an intense curiosity that only grew with every passing hour of silence from the official channels. To truly understand the magnitude of this unfolding story and to ensure you never miss a single detail as we unravel the deep secrets of this historic weekend, take a brief moment to subscribe to our channel and stay connected with us for all the exclusive updates that are yet to come. The tension building in the heart of Manhattan was not just about the individuals involved, but about the audacious challenge they had issued to the relentless machinery of modern media, proving that even in the brightest spotlight, True mystery could still exist. As the weekend progressed, the rumors of an absolute lockdown within the city's premier venues began to take on a concrete, almost terrifying reality for those working within the local hospitality industry. Whispers circulated through the entertainment sectors of New York regarding the severe consequences facing anyone who dared to compromise the strict boundaries set by the organizers of this exclusive gathering. Reports began to surface that individuals had already lost their livelihoods for merely attempting to utilize their personal communication devices within the heavily guarded confines of Madison Square Garden, illustrating the uncompromising nature of the security apparatus in place. Every entrance was monitored with military precision, every staff member was briefed under strict legal protocols, and every logistical detail was scrutinized to ensure that no unauthorized information could escape into the public domain. This unprecedented level of enforcement created a unique ecosystem within the city, where the joy of a personal milestone was wrapped in a fortress of digital isolation, forcing guests and workers alike to navigate an environment where their every move was accounted for. The stark contrast between the celebratory nature of the occasion and the tactical precision of its execution created a compelling duality, leaving the public to wonder what grand revelation awaited at the end of this elaborate labyrinth of secrecy. The atmosphere was charged with the knowledge that a definitive moment was approaching, a revelation that would permanently alter the cultural landscape. Yet the path leading to that moment remained shrouded in a beautifully orchestrated fog of misdirection and silence. The silence that had blanketed the city finally shattered on that fateful Friday afternoon with a brief but resounding bombshell that instantly rendered all the rampant speculation obsolete. The couple, in a move that was as calculated as it was elegant, confirmed that they were now married, finally bringing an end to months of intense conjecture that had gripped the entertainment world. The revelation was not merely a simple announcement but a statement of intent, a declaration that they had succeeded in reclaiming their most private moment from the crushing weight of public scrutiny. The details of the union, released with the same precision that characterized the entire event, revealed that the bride wore a stunning custom gown designed by Jonathan Anderson, the visionary creative director of Dior. This choice was a masterclass in misdirection. While fashion critics and global tabloids had spent months betting on the usual stalwarts of bridal couture, names like Oscar de la Renta, Ralph Lauren, and Stella McCartney, the couple had quietly partnered with a house that no one had dared to predict. It was a sophisticated pivot that spoke volumes about their desire to surprise even the most dedicated followers of their personal journey, ensuring that when the moment of truth arrived, it was entirely on their own terms. The selection of a first-ever couture wedding gown from the brand underscored the gravity of the occasion, signaling that this was not just a wedding, but a cultural event of the highest order, designed to leave an indelible mark on the history of celebrity fashion. However, the beauty of the dress and the formality of the announcement were only the final layers of a complex, multifaceted operation that had been meticulously assembled over the course of many long, secretive months. Behind the scenes, the sheer scale of the logistical effort required to protect this wedding from external interference was, in every sense of the word, monumental. The Daily Mail had been the first to report, as far back as April, that the wedding planners had been distributing non-disclosure agreements with the same regularity that other weddings distribute party favors. These were not mere formalities. They were binding legal instruments that were a prerequisite for even receiving a save-the-date, let alone the actual invitation. The security measures extended to the very design of the physical invitations themselves, which were individually watermarked with the unique first and last names of every single guest. This was a brilliant, if slightly intimidating, deterrent against the modern-day scourge of information leaks. Any photograph of an invite would have been instantly traceable to the specific individual responsible for the breach. Sources within the planning inner circle described a strategy of extreme compartmentalization, where loved ones were kept on a strictly need-to-know basis, ensuring that even close family members, including the mothers of the bride and groom, were kept largely in the dark regarding the logistical minutiae of the wedding preparations. This intense level of secrecy was not born of paranoia but of a fierce, uncompromising desire to protect the sanctity of their celebration in an era where every moment is relentlessly commodified and broadcast the experience of the guests. Upon finally gaining entry to the highly fortified venue was designed to be as immersive as it was restrictive, stripping away the technological crutches of the modern age to force an authentic, unmediated human connection. Once inside, the standard rules of social engagement were replaced by a regime of total accountability. Security personnel, acting with the efficiency of a high-end surveillance firm, required every attendee to forfeit their mobile devices, ensuring that not a single unauthorized image or video could escape the venue walls. In their place, guests were equipped with advanced tracking technology. A source close to the operation explained that the wristbands provided upon entry were far more than simple identifiers. They were sophisticated tools that allowed the event's organizers to maintain a comprehensive map of the venue at all times. They could monitor the movement of guests throughout the building, ensuring that no one wandered into unauthorized zones or attempted to circumvent the strict boundaries that had been established. It was an environment that prioritized absolute control, where the act of attending the wedding became a commitment to participate in a high-security ecosystem. For those accustomed to the constant connectivity of the modern world, this digital blackout was a jarring shift. Yet it was a necessary component of a larger vision to create a space that felt truly separate from the rest of the planet. The tactical genius of the couple was perhaps most evident in their masterful use of decoy operations to distract the relentless pursuit of the paparazzi. In the weeks leading up to the ceremony, the streets of Manhattan became a theater of misdirection. The most notable example occurred just last month, when a bodyguard was deliberately staged outside of the singer's Manhattan apartment, holding a garment bag that prominently displayed a Stella McCartney dress. It was a classic bait and switch, a calculated maneuver designed to lead the media into an entirely wrong path, feeding them a narrative that they would eagerly consume and broadcast while the actual plans were being finalized in absolute silence. It was a move that required nerves of steel and an intimate understanding of how the media machine functions, playing upon the collective desire for a scoop to hide the truth in plain sight. This level of deception was not limited to fashion. It extended to the movement of vehicles, the timing of arrivals, and the very structure of the weekend's itinerary. By feeding the public false leads, they ensured that when the actual events took place, the media was looking in the wrong direction, allowing the couple the breathing room they needed to execute their vision without the constant, suffocating pressure of a billion eyes focused on their every move. Even the municipal infrastructure of New York City was not immune to the gravitational pull of this security apparatus, as the police department found itself integrated into the couple's tactical planning. More than 130 officers were assigned to the event, and they were subjected to the same strictures as the guests, instructed in no uncertain terms that their personal cell phones were to remain off the premises entirely. This level of enforcement, extending even to law enforcement, highlighted the seriousness with which the organizers approached the potential for leaks. One guest who inadvertently provided a small window into the intense environment shared a message she received while struggling to gain entry to the event. The instructions were blunt. For any emergency communication needs that might arise during the festivities, there would be dedicated phones provided on-site, and guests were expected to have written down any vital numbers they might need in advance. It was a return to a pre-digital era of organization, a necessary concession to ensure that the sanctity of the event remained uncompromised. The atmosphere inside the venue was thick with this tension, a mix of celebration and high-stakes caution that created a unique energy, one where every guest understood that they were part of something protected, something guarded, and something entirely separate from the frantic, hyper-connected reality outside the doors. The reliance on written communication and on-site, monitored phones added a layer of quaint analog charm to what was otherwise a futuristic, high-tech security operation, reinforcing the idea that this weekend was being managed with a level of care and precision that has become exceedingly rare in modern life. The orchestration of this grand marital evasion required a level of strategic brilliance that seemed to draw direct inspiration from the elite tactics of professional sports. To execute a deception of this magnitude, the groom undoubtedly looked to the legendary playbooks of his longtime head coach, Andy Reid, a man renowned for designing intricate, mind-bending trick plays on the football field when the stakes are at their absolute highest. Just as they had done on the global stage of the Super Bowl against San Francisco, where the celebrated tight end acted as a master decoy to draw the defense away and allow his teammate to score the championship-winning touchdown. The couple utilized the exact same philosophy of misdirection to secure their personal happiness. The bride, who had watched that legendary sports victory from the luxury suites in Las Vegas and later described the post-game embrace as the craziest thing she had ever witnessed, clearly understood the value of a perfectly executed distraction. In the theater of global celebrity, where every movement is analyzed, they ran the ultimate trick play, turning the media's own aggressive instincts against them to create a safe harbor for their vows. It was a beautiful convergence of two distinct worlds, where athletic strategy and pop culture mastery combined to achieve what many industry experts had previously deemed completely impossible in the modern era. When the heavy doors of the inner sanctuary finally closed and the technological fortress was fully activated, the ceremony itself defied every conventional expectation that the public had spent months projecting onto the couple. In a move that absolutely no one in the entertainment industry saw coming, the solemn vows were officiated not by a traditional religious leader or a high-ranking official, but by their close friend, the iconic comedian Adam Sandler. This unexpected choice immediately injected a sense of genuine warmth, humanity, and lighthearted intimacy into an event that had otherwise been defined by its rigid, ironclad security protocols. Furthermore, despite the endless tabloid rumors suggesting a massive, star-studded coterie of bridesmaids and groomsmen featuring the world's top supermodels and pop stars, the couple chose a deeply personal, minimalist approach. The singer's brother Austin stood proudly as her singular man of honor, while the groom's celebrated brother, Jason, fulfilled the duties of best man, ensuring that the emotional core of the ceremony remained rooted entirely in family and lifelong bonds. Among the select group of elite guests witnessing this historic moment was professional football star George Kittle, who found himself in the unique position of celebrating his rival's ultimate personal victory after having suffered a heartbreaking defeat against him on the championship field just seasons prior. This extraordinary weekend marks the spectacular culmination of a love story that captured the imagination of the public exactly 3 years ago. Beginning during a warm summer week in early July, it was a romance born of an audacious, old-school romantic gesture that felt as though it had been pulled directly from the script of a classic Hollywood film. The powerful athlete had first laid eyes on the global superstar during her spectacular stadium concert tour in Kansas City, arriving with a handmade friendship bracelet that secretly contained his personal phone number. Though his initial bold attempt to deliver the jewelry directly to her dressing room was unsuccessful due to the strict backstage security protocols of the tour, he refused to let the dream die. He subsequently shared the humorous, self-deprecating story of his failed mission on his popular weekly podcast, a candid broadcast that immediately caught the attention of the singer herself. The multi-Grammy winner later confessed that she was deeply moved by the sheer charm and public bravery of the gesture, noting that it felt like a scene from an iconic 80s movie where the hero stands outside a window with a boombox, unapologetically declaring his affection to the world. For a songwriter who had spent her entire adolescence translating the complexities of romance into chart-topping anthems, this real-life fairy tale felt like the living embodiment of her own artistic catalog. The journey from that initial podcast revelation to the historic lockdown in Manhattan represents a profound shift in how modern icons navigate the intense pressure of global fame. Following their initial private meeting, the couple became instantly enamored with one another, embarking on a whirlwind relationship that seamlessly blended the high-octane energy of professional sports stadiums with the glamorous world of international music tours. Their official engagement in the late summer of the following year set off a massive countdown clock in the media, triggering a relentless pursuit by paparazzi and journalists, desperate to capture a single definitive detail of the impending nuptials. Yet, by choosing to disappear entirely from the public eye in the critical days leading up to the ceremony, and by enforcing a level of security that stunned even seasoned city officials, they successfully protected the sanctity of their union. While representatives for the groom have maintained a strict silence and have yet to return calls for official comment, the message sent to the world is undeniable. In a society that demands total access to the lives of its most famous citizens, this couple proved that with enough determination, loyalty, and strategic brilliance, it is still possible to keep a love story truly personal, transforming the wedding of the century into a private victory that will be remembered for decades to come.